Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison. We have seen the Arizona football team go 2-0, opening the season this year with a 34-point win over the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. And then we saw Arizona crush Weber State by a 45-point margin, 48-3, dominating those Wildcats on the football field. That's an FCS opponent and an FBS opponent, where the defense didn't allow a single touchdown. Arizona didn't allow a single touchdown in that game, only 3 field goals, a handful of red zone attempts, a ton of interceptions, a ton of takeaways, and a ton of sacks. Just a tremendous performance by the defense. That is the first time since 2010 that the Wildcats defense has done anything like that to open up a season, no matter the opponent, holding them without a touchdown on the field. You have to go back to the Mike Stoops era when Arizona beat Toledo 41-2 on the road in Ohio, and then beating the Citadel in Tucson by a crushing score. I don't think the Citadel scored in that game. I can't remember the game off the top of my head in terms of the final score. But a tremendous performance defensively. I thought they did very well out there on the football field. They're able to get in the backfield, create some havoc there, create key turnovers, get a couple red zone interceptions and takeaways there. Tremendous work. I don't care who your opponent is, if it's FCS, FBS, anytime you hold your opponent without a touchdown, that's impressive. It's hard, especially in today's college football. This isn't the 90s. This isn't the 80s where dominant defenses ruled the land. This is the era of offense. We're in that era of offense that we've been in really since the last, I would say, about 15, 16 years, an era of offense. And yet Arizona, no problem. No problem. So I'm very impressed what I've seen defensively from the Wildcats. I give that unit an A-. Is there work to be done? Yeah, but I thought it was tremendous work out there by Arizona. But again, it's FCS, an FCS opponent and an FBS opponent. There's still a lot of work to be done for Arizona, for the defense, and everything in between. It was an important week in terms of recruiting for Arizona with Weber State in town. They had over 100 recruits on campus. 100 recruits with a heavy focus on in-state recruits, but there were 3 4-star recruits on campus from Southern California. One of those being Caden Jones, which is Caden Jones's brother out there on the football field, the linebacker for Arizona. His brother's a 4-star quarterback. So they had his teammates as well, a 4-star corner and a 4-star receiver. Unfortunately for Arizona, the 2-hour rain delay, the 2-hour lightning delay. I asked GM Geiska Crowley, what do they do in those situations? How do they go about the recruiting visits when you have those things happen? Because it's rare. Arizona hasn't had a delay in a game like that since 2009, the Central Michigan game. And he said, well, it's pretty simple that, you have them in the indoor facility, the sports center there, and you're having a tailgate already taking place where all these recruits are watching college football. You have great food and just a fun environment, and you get to know them more. You get to spend more time at that tailgate watching college football with them and getting to know them as a person. So their staff has done tremendous work the last couple of weeks, really since they got here at Arizona, at identifying talent and getting them on campus. And I expect another big turnout for Kansas State. Is it going to be over 100 recruits on campus? Probably not, given it's a short weekend, a Friday night game, and there's high schools that play Friday night football. But I do think this is a huge opportunity for Arizona on the recruiting trail in terms of being on national television, being on Fox, playing a high-level opponent like Kansas State. No matter how poorly they've done over the last couple of weeks, it's a high-level program. It's one of the most consistent programs in the country. And you're the only game on. You're going to have the national spotlight, the national attention on you. This is a big moment for Arizona. It's a big game for this coaching staff and this roster. If you're able to win, against Kansas State and put yourself in the 3-0 driver's seat heading into the conference play. Look, I know Kansas State has been good. I don't see how Arizona is not ranked if they do that, if they take care of business in Tucson. Right now, they're the favorite. I think last time I checked, they're 2.5-point favorites. That's probably going to grow a little bit before kickoff. I'm expecting the day of kickoff them to be around a 3.5 to 4.5-point favorite. So this is a big opportunity for the Wildcats. And one player that always gets evaluated, no matter it's good, bad, ugly, and everything in between, is the quarterback position. And I wanted to talk about Noah Fifita because in that first game against Hawaii, let's be honest, he was not his best. Was he bad? No. He got better as the game went along, but it was not Noah's best performance. 13 of 23 from the field, threw for 161 yards, a touchdown, and rushed it in for a touchdown. Got sacked twice, did not turn the ball over. So I thought in that case, that was pretty good. But he didn't seem comfortable with the offense. He kind of got a little bit into his groove, a little bit into rhythm as that second half came along. So I gave him a B- for that game. Now against Weber State, he was on it from the get-go, man. That looked like vintage Noah Fifita out there on the football field, slinging the ball all around, hitting his checkdowns, making big plays in the passing game when needed, and really having an understanding for the offense. He put up PlayStation numbers, classic PlayStation numbers. When you go 17 and 22, 373 yards and 5 touchdowns midway through the third quarter, you're dominant. That opponent can't stop you. Nobody could stop you out on that field that night. And Noah Fifita put together that. He was 1 touchdown away from tying a school record for single touchdown passes in a game, which is 6 with Jaden DeLora and Tom Tunnicliffe. This is the second time Noah's thrown for 5 touchdown passes in a game. The first time coming during the 2023 season. The opponent on that one kind of escapes me right now. But just an overall great performance. I thought he looked more comfortable in the offense. He was making the right reads, making the right decisions. Were there a few hiccups? Yeah, nobody's perfect. But I thought it was such a promising start for Arizona and for Noah Fifita, getting him out of the mindset of the 2024 season where he really struggled from beginning to end and back into the mindset of the 2023 season where he was not thinking. He was not overanalyzing football. He was just playing, letting it fly, letting it rip. And, we've seen him talk about that, saying it's like a golf swing. You just got to go out there, let it rip, don't overthink. And you're seeing him play not carefree football, not careless football is what I'm trying to say, but carefree football, not overthinking, not overanalyzing. He's just going out there and balling, man. I love what I saw from him against Weber State. Again, I know it's an FCS opponent. I know you're supposed to do that. But it's one thing when you're supposed to do it, and then it's another thing when you actually go out there and execute. And he looks better so far and more comfortable than he did at any point last year. And that's because of the Seth Dagey offense. I know there's some guys out there that aren't a believer of the Dagey system yet, but man, I am. I think he's one of the better young offensive minds in college football that will be a head coach one day. And Arizona's very lucky to have him. I think it's going to be interesting against Kansas State because you're going to see the playbook open up more. I know the coaches say they don't hold plays back against any opponent, but that's false. You're not showing your whole playbook against Weber State and Hawaii. You're not. So I think you're going to see a lot more different wrinkles coming up. And I can't wait to see what Noah Fifita is able to do against this Kansas State defense and against Governor Maldonado, who's now a safety for the Kansas State Wildcats. He's the ultimate Wildcat, if you think about it, because he's been at Northwestern Wildcats, Arizona Wildcats, and now Kansas State Wildcats. So, he's making his Wildcat trip around the country, and now Arizona gets to face off against him. It should be a fun game. And you know what? And with how Noah has been playing, I gave him an A, solid A against Weber State because I don't think you could have been a little bit better if he went on. Sure, it could have been an A+. But for what it was, solid A. B- against Hawaii. Overall this season, Noah Fifita, B+. B+ with room to grow. And I think you're only going to see him get stronger as the year moves on instead of going up and down like you did last season. And I think he's going to make a case to be an all-conference quarterback this year for Arizona. I think he's going to make a case to push for Offensive Player of the Year in the conference. Depends on how Arizona finishes. But you're going to see Noah climb through the passing rankings at Arizona. You now see him with 50 touchdown passes for his career. He's solo in 4th place all time, passing Anu Solomon, another Polynesian quarterback that had tremendous success in Tucson, and now only 7 touchdowns away. Might be, I got to double check, from tying Khalil Tate. Very impressive. And I think by the end of his career, he has an outside shot of being number 1 all-time in Arizona football history. The all-time record's held by Willie Tutom and Nick Foles with 67. And you finish this season hot, you finish next, and you play next year, have a good year, he would crush that record. But overall, so far this season for Noah Fifita, he gets an A. I can't wait to see him against Kansas State. And we'll have more coverage leading up to Friday night's kickoff on Arizona Wildcats on SI. Follow our Twitter at Arizona Wildcats on SI, or me, Troy Hutchison, at THutch1995, and we'll see you next time.